Our 80s movie bully stereotype of a president threatened North Korea again today on Twitter, where all of the coolest presidents discuss their military actions. Trump tweeted out that military sanctions are now fully in place, or military solutions, sorry, are now fully in place, locked and loaded. Should North Korea act unwisely, hopefully Kim Jong-un will find another path. This is literally a bad 80s movie. I mean, it screams of written by the guy. I wanted to think of I got one in mind and I can't think of his fucking name. A shitty 80s movie director. Just pick one. It's what it literally is. But he is from an 80s movie. Biff from Back to the Future was fucking literally based on Donald Trump. And it's almost like it's come true. It makes you wonder, does Steven Spielberg have a fucking time machine? Did he know that Trump was going to be president, or is it Trump that has the fucking time machine? Did anybody see that crazy shit with that book? There's a book that people discovered from like 100 years ago, and it's about Baron Trump and his adventures in Trump Castle, which is on Fifth Avenue. It's fucking ridiculous. It has so many comparisons. It's kind of freaky. But, it's just a weird coincidence, but it's freaky, though. You should look it up. There's some cool videos on it. But there was a book, an old book, about the adventures of Baron Trump. And it's ridiculous. He's got a friend, Don, who's all-knowing. And, oh, my God, there's so much that is eerily similar. But it's like literally a bad movie. That's exactly how this whole fucking thing feels. A spoiled trust fund bully is the American president, with arguably the most powerful military on the planet at his disposal. And other countries are not appreciating it. Chinese state-owned newspaper, the Global Times, warned that should the U.S. hit North Korea with a preemptive strike or try to overthrow Jong-un, that China would side with North Korea and Jong-un against us and would not allow it to happen. They're not going to allow us to overthrow the Jong-un regime unless Jong-un is to hit us first. And in that instance, they only say that they'll stay neutral. So China is not on our side here. And them saying that it would require Jong-un to hit us first has me even more worried than I already was about a false flag attack being blamed on Jong-un. But I'm sure that China is well aware of our military-industrial complex's love of false flags, or I would at least hope they would be. It's a shame that if something were to happen and be blamed on North Korea, that my first instinct would be to distrust it. That I wouldn't trust my government and the media when they tell me that this man did something, that North Korea or Kim Jong-un launched a missile or did whatever they go to blame on him. My first instinct will be not to trust that information. That's a damn shame. But, that's the state of things today. That's the reason why independent journalism has become so important. You can't trust the mainstream media. But in other news, meanwhile, in Russia, Russia's throwing over 700 American embassy staff out of the country, sending them back to the United States, which Trump praised, saying, "I want to thank Putin because we're trying to cut down on our payroll. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm very thankful that he let go of a large number of people, because now we have a smaller payroll." Trump added that there was really no reason for them to go back. He said, "I greatly appreciate the fact that we've been able to cut our payroll. We're going to save a lot of money." Apparently giving no shit about foreign relations or 755 Americans losing their job. But, Trump's idea of what Americans' foreign policy should be seems so surreal in its lunacy to me. I cannot believe the ways in which I'm watching the American president behave. How close to actually living in the movie Idiocracy we have become, or we are at this point. The ridiculousness of it all has me searching for what I'm being distracted from, rather. American politics have literally become a circus of WWE proportions. It's reality television gone mad with power. And people are so fixated on the back and forth bullshit drama that's going on that no one would notice something sinister if it was to happen. And call me crazy, but that just doesn't, things just don't seem real to me lately. That what's going on in the world and in the news just seems so like a bad movie, a bad WWE plot, a, just a huge fucking distraction. You know, look over here, look over here, look over here. Look how scary North Korea is. Look at this. Oh my God, he said this. Then Trump said this back. And now China said, Russia's doing this and Russia rigged your election. And blah, don't look over here. But what the fuck are you trying to get me to not look at? What is it that you're hiding? What's going on? And I think that's why they want this war so bad, because war, for one thing, I think America's in big trouble. I think that's what it really is. I think America and our way of life and our country as we know it is in big trouble. And I think that a lot of that centers around the possible collapse of the dollar. Now, I don't have inside information. I'm just talking about the way they're acting. They're making power moves in the middle, in areas of the Middle East, and then also on these countries that are not on board with the petrodollar and don't have central banks. Every one of these countries we're having a problem with right now, if you list them off, because now you can add China to that list. So you got North Korea, China, Syria, Iran, Russia. These are all problem countries right now, right? Every one of those, the things they have in common is they don't have central banks, and the Rothschilds banks, then they don't have, they're not on the petrodollar system. They don't support the petrodollar system. The petrodollar system props up our economy. You know, and that would be a big problem if people were to stop buying oil with the petrodollar, because that's one of the only things that's holding our currency up at all. And I think that's what they want this war so bad for, is because war is good money, war is good business, war makes a lot of people a lot of money, no matter win or lose. They don't care. It don't matter. They're not going to die. They're not going over there to die. They're not going to be one of the people killed. They're just going to sell missiles and bombs, and they don't give a shit. So they stand to lose nothing. They always win in every war, no matter who wins the war. The people at the top always fucking win. The bankers and the military-industrial complex, they don't lose a war. They're undefeated. It don't fucking matter to them who wins. They make money either way. So I just think that's what it's all about. And it's got my spidey sense tingling. That's all I can say. I don't trust any of it. And I'm looking everywhere I can look for any information, because I know that something fucked up is going to happen or go on. Because they got this agenda, and they're building up this boogeyman now in Kim Jong-un. And I'm just not fucking buying it. You know, I don't buy it. I don't think North Korea is an actual threat. I think that's why you're hearing this stuff out of the Chinese media, that they're not going to support this, because North Korea is not an actual threat. We're building him up to be a threat. And yeah, he might say some crazy shit if you provoke him, which I think is what's happening. They're just poking a bear and, getting a reaction that they expected to get. We annihilated that country, not 50, 60 years ago? Like, carpet bombed the fucking shit out of them. What I read the other day, there was 3 times as many tons of bombs dropped on North Korea than we dropped in the entire World War II, in the entire Pacific and all that, including the nukes, like that much TNT. We annihilated everything there. And that wasn't that long ago. And those people hate us. And they just have different customs and traditions. And I just believe that when you got a president that's threatening them on Twitter and every opportunity with fire and fury and words that sound an awful lot like nuclear annihilation to a country you recently fucking annihilated, I don't know. I think you're asking for him to say some crazy shit. So I'm not worried about him saying that he wants, he'll do this or that. Because you're saying it too. You're just not making me buy into it. And I think China's right there. If he was really a nuclear threat and he was really a threat to anybody, I think other people would be worried about it and not us, And I'm not buying this whole Hick Guam shit. I was on a page today while I was doing research, and it was a mainstream media page. It was, U.S. Daily News, I think. And on the very top story, that actually has a video for it and a big headline, it was talking about how this is all bullshit. Don't worry about it. The North Korea nuclear threat really isn't that big a deal. And then 3 stories fucking down, how Guam people are planning to survive a nuclear attack. Is it a big deal or not a big deal at all? Or is Guam about to get nuked? Make up your fucking mind, because on your main page, you have 2 stories that contradict each other about how Guam needs to start preparing to survive a nuclear strike. And then your top story is how that's not true. You can't even get your shit straight on your own website. I thought that was funny.